To the family, to the families, the friends, the parents, to the teachers, the faculty, the staff, but most importantly, to the Oregon Davis graduating class of 2019. Congratulations. When they called me a few months ago to speak at commencement, my first thought was, well, that's silly. I just graduated. Then I realized when I did the math, that was 22 years ago. Just to put that into perspective, 22 years ago was 4 years before any of these kids were even born. So when asked the question, what advice and insights do you have to offer? I did what any self-respecting person would do, and I Googled the answer. Here's what I came up with. Follow your dreams, work hard, don't rush through life. Yeah, you know all that. This is life advice for you. If you sprinkle when you tinkle, be a sweetie and wipe the seedy. Very important. You can keep a cake from drying out by eating it all in one sitting. If somebody ever says, "Ew, smell this," don't. Nothing good comes of that. Always swim with a friend. It cuts the chance of being eaten by a shark by 50%. This also works with hiking and bears, by the way, life tip for you. And I know you're a few years from this, but this is very important advice. When you are of the age to be able to drink, do not drink excessively. It can lead to memory loss, but even worse, it can lead to memory loss. But I do have some insights that I was able to cobble together. The first being, find significance in a place and a moment. When I arrived back at the school, and it's been years, I was struck by what a beautiful building this is. There are no square corners in this building. You have round hallways, 2 beautiful domes between the library and the gym, and you've got the cafeteria in between with the bowling alley under the stage. It's just a beautiful building. But this gymnasium, and I want to point out what an amazing room this is. In the early 90s, Keith McMahon broke that backboard during practice. Glass was everywhere. They collected it, put it in little plastic Ziploc baggies, and they sold it at the concession stand at the next game. That's right, in the early 90s, we used to sell kids bags of broken glass. It was 50 cents, and I was one of the first kids in line. Right there, from that elbow, Scott Bloom broke the scoring record. That was in 1988. I don't know if people know this, the 1985 Bears, after winning the Super Bowl, played in this gymnasium. If you don't know who the 85 Bears are, just Google Super Bowl Shuffle and just get ready to go down a path of really terrible 80s music. Underneath that basket, when I was 7 years old, playing basketball with Tyler Warkentine, I broke his tooth out. When I was a junior, right over there under the hash mark, I was guarding Bob Cranenberg, broke his tooth out. Maybe I should have been a dentist. There have been countless proms. There have been countless funerals in this gymnasium. When I was in school, there were 3 colleagues, Dwayne Brashear, Chris Williams, and Lisa Dante. Dan Ambrose was the head of maintenance. His funeral was in this gym. There have been 49 years of graduates who have sat in this gym, going through the same things that you're going through. This room is magic. Recognize the place and the moment that you're in. The other insight that I was given, you're a big fish in a small pond. How many of you have heard that? I got that advice all the time. You are a big fish in a small pond, which means that you are about to be a small fish in a big pond. What are the implications of that? It means the bigger fish will eat you. It means that kids from the larger schools have had a head start in the big pond because they're from larger ponds. It implies that you haven't had the opportunities that students from larger schools have had. It's also complete BS. I've lived it. It's not that bad. But you're going to hear it. Trust me, I did. At school, oh, congratulations, Courtney, you were valedictorian? Oh, but of Oregon Davis, there are only 50 kids, so it wasn't that hard. No football team? Oh, there's no real school doesn't have a football team. I'll bet you were from such a small town, it was a one-stoplight town. Yeah, well, joke's on you. We had 3 small towns and not a single stoplight among one of them. The world is expecting you to be something less. They're expecting you to have to overcome. But here's the secret of it. The real world's not hard. It's not any harder than what you've been through. And it's not hard because Oregon Davis is not easy. You will always find somebody who's better at individual things. They specialize. It's what you do in the larger schools. They specialize. Go and seek those people out. Find somebody who's better than you at any given thing, hang out with them, and then just be better than them. It's as easy as that. But there is nobody who will ever be better than you at everything that you do. And that's what Oregon Davis does. I went back and talked to my mentors in Canada, and I told them that I was giving the speech, and I asked what I should talk about. I said, what do you find, what do you see when you look for successful people to join your team? And they said, well, Courtney says, we look for 4 things. We look for trust, we look for grit, we look for community, and we look for curiosity. And I said, oh, that's great. Is this why you hired me? And they said, Courtney, we interviewed you because we thought you were a girl. Take luck where you can find it, by the way. They said, we hired you because you gave the best interview. They said, we made you a leader of our organization because you embodied the 4 things that we look for. Whether or not you know it, these are the same skills that Oregon Davis have given you. Trust. Let's talk about trust. What is trust? Everybody knows, okay, you need to be trustworthy. People need to trust you, but it's more than that. Trust is, do you have the capacity to trust others? In the past 12 months, I have closed over $600 million worth of deals for aircraft. But I went back to one of my customers and I said, what did it? Why did you buy from me as opposed to our competitors? He said, well, you looked me in the eye when you shook my hand. No kidding. Well, doesn't everybody do that? He said, well, look, I trust you. You were given the chance to trust me, and you did. He said, but I'll tell you, I kicked one of your competitors out of my office because he didn't look me in the eye. This matters. Trust matters. Where did I learn how to give a proper handshake and to be trusted? I can tell you, I remember standing in line at St. Matthew's Lutheran Church. Once every couple months, we had to be greeters, and it was terrible. I hated it because we had to shake the hands of everybody that came through the church. And I can tell you, Tom Lawrence, Robin Flusop, Jack Awald, if you didn't give them a good handshake, they wouldn't accept it, and you did it until you got it right. This community made sure that we knew what it was like to be trustworthy. Grit. Grit was one of the other aspects they said was so important. And grit is more than what we think of it is. We think of grit as get your butt kicked and get back up just to get your butt kicked again. That's not what grit is. Grit is, after getting your butt kicked, can you get back up knowing that you are going to win? You just don't necessarily know when. And trust me, look, The math is not in our favor. We are Oregon Davis. We know what it's like to get our butts kicked. We know what it's like to come back and play bigger schools on the volleyball court, the basketball court, the baseball diamond, soccer field, what have you, and to get our butts kicked and come back the next week. But there are 3 banners, multiple banners, pictures that prove that we know what it means to have a legacy of grit. We know what it means to win. In 2007, when the boys were playing in the state championships at Conseco Fieldhouse, I was living in Cincinnati at the time, and I had a neighbor from Kentucky who I invited to come and watch the boys play. And we drove up, and the game was amazing. We were dominant, and we walked away with a trophy. It was a fantastic time. And on the drive home, I asked him, I said, so what'd you think? This is small school Indiana basketball. I mean, this is the storied stuff. He said, man, your victory chant was amazing. I'm like, victory chant? What? I mean, there was amazing behind the back pass during the game. None of that. The victory chant. What are you talking about? He said, you were the smallest school in the tournament. The other victory chants are what you would expect. We are the champions. Hey, 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 goodbye. He said, your victory chant was, we are OD. We are OD. We had the audience of the state. The governor was watching the game. The larger schools had just come in. What did we say? Well, we had dominated that game. This is who we are. Remember us. We are OD. We are OD. He said it was powerful. He said, I've never experienced anything like that. The smallest school in the tournament. This is who we are. Remember us. We expected to be there, and we've been back. This is grit. There's been a legacy of people who have built to those teams, whether or not they were even in school at the time. There's a legacy of grit with Oregon Davis. I tell you that story to tell the next story, which is an example of grit when I was in the corporate world. You understand, the company that I work for, we sell airplanes, but for the first time we've designed an airplane that goes up against the big boys. We're going up against Boeing and Airbus, and let me tell you, we got our butts kicked, and we got it kicked often. And we had so many people who were on our team who would drop off after every loss, and they would say, it's just too hard. I want to find a winning team, is what they would say. And I had one friend in particular after a devastating loss, and he said, man, I'm optimistic and I get it, but I'm sick of losing. And I said, what are you talking about, man? The more times you lose, the better the victory celebration is going to be. And he said, I think you're crazy, but I'll hang around. Within a couple weeks, we got a call from Delta Airlines. We went to Atlanta. Within a few months of very hard work, we sold 75 airplanes. At that party, at that celebration, we had the airplane on the ramp. The employees were walking through the airplane, or the CEOs had flown in on their private jets, and they were shaking hands. And my friend came up to me and he said, now I get it. He said, I totally get it. He has won so many deals and so many competitions in his life. He says, none of them have felt like this. He goes, how did you know that it would be like this? We had been taught grit. We come to expect that. That's what Oregon Davis is. Community. Again, not only do you have the community behind you, but do you have what it takes to work for something that's greater than yourself? Do you have inherently the ideas of community? So many people have said, what's in it for me? Or I've heard, that's not my job. What have you learned about community here at Oregon Davis? Do you realize that this community, when faced with the existential crisis that Oregon Davis name may go away, decided to pay more money to keep the name Oregon Davis? They did that twice. That does not happen. That is a gift. That is a pedigree. That's also a responsibility. This is the name Oregon Davis. And I also ask, why are you here? I don't mean why are you graduating. I mean, why aren't you graduating from Knox or Plymouth or John Glenn? You know, you can do that now. You can pick your own school. That's different. Whether or not you will admit it, and whether or not you know it, you are here because inherently you know what strong community is like. There have been teachers and staff who have been dedicated to Oregon Davis their entire career. Names like Flocker, Vandemark, Miller, Marsh, Bridges. These are names of people who have worked decades. And trust me, they could have made more money going somewhere else, but the community matters. You have been given such a gift with which to go out into the real world. And finally, the fourth item they said, curiosity. A willingness to learn, a willingness to change your perspective. Come on, we're from a small town. We don't have people around here to do a lot of things for us. Trust me, in Dallas, you can hire everything done. There's an inherent sense of curiosity that comes with that. However, I also suggest that you need to broaden that. And this, you're not going to like this, but you're going to have to leave. You're going to have to go somewhere else and gain that perspective. Travel, go out, see things, bring that perspective back. It doesn't mean that you can't come back. You're going to come back. Either you'll do it the easy way and come back and give a commencement speech in 22 years, or you can do it the hard way and come back and run for school board president like Chris Lawrence did. Engage, do, compete. Just go out and be a part of it. Get in the mix. Don't wait. Go out and be a part of the world. Compete. The road of life is paved with squirrels who couldn't make a decision. Be decisive. And look for ways to make the world a better place. There's a man named Ernie Pyle who was born at the turn of the century. He was a war correspondent, born in Dana, Indiana, small unincorporated town. He died on Okinawa as a war correspondent. He changed the way wars are covered. He changed the way war correspondents worked. And as such, he changed the way warfare was conducted. Neil Armstrong was from a small town in Ohio. He went to Purdue University, first man to walk on the moon, for crying out loud. Chuck Taylor invented sneakers from small town Indiana. Amelia Earhart, Mark Twain, Ronald Reagan, Abraham Lincoln, all from small towns. You are going to enter the big pond, but here's the thing. The last thing this world needs is more little fish. Be the big fish. Be the big fish with the trust and the integrity of this community that's given you these skills. And so I'd like to try something. If you do me a favor, if the graduates would stand up and turn around and face the crowd, literally. This is your community. This is your community. This is Oregon Davis. These are just some of the people who did what it took to make sure you could continue the legacy of Oregon Davis. What they do reflects on you, and your hard work and success is a reflection on them. Now, to the community of Oregon Davis, what do you expect of these graduates? Here are 43 young men and women who have all just graduated from one of the greatest schools that nobody even knows about. The only thing they don't have is the world's expectations. Expect greatness from Oregon Davis. Okay, now, look at me. I too am a graduate of Oregon Davis. What you do from here on out reflects on me. Forget about them. Your job is to make me look good. And I'll do what it takes to return the favor. You have not been given the skills to simply look successful. You have been given the skills to actually be successful. Be impactful, compete, stand toe-to-toe with those from larger communities, then rise above them on the shoulders of Oregon Davis, and the trust, the grit, the community, and the curiosity of those sitting around you. Nobody sees you coming. Go and do great things. I expect that of you. And now that you're about to be graduates of Oregon Davis, remember what that means. Remember who we are. We are curious. We are trusting. We are a legacy of grit. We are community. We are OD. Thank you very much. Congratulations again.
Across the timeline, ball stolen away by Reed. Pass underneath. The shot is going to be up and good. As time runs out, the final score is going to read Oregon Davis 63, Reed 52, and the Oregon Davis Bobcats have just made history by winning the boys state basketball championship in the same year that the girls from Oregon Davis won. That is history. No other school in the state of Indiana, any class, at any time, has ever accomplished that. And the Bobcats of Oregon Davis with the biggest story since 1954's Miracle of Milan in Indiana basketball.